Hey guys, this is Jesse from Fishing the Dream, and I kind of wanted to go over my Hoodoo Tempest120p. I have had a few issues with it since I did my tutorial on it, and I just wanted to reiterate. I hear a lot of people talking about making sure that once you get the kayak that you go through and check all of the hardware, the bolts, and I found out all too well that that was true. In transport from Nashville, Tennessee to Tucson, Arizona, I somehow lost my rudder on this kayak, and there's only one bolt that holds it on. It runs directly down through the center of the rudder from underneath. It comes up through the hull where the actual control cables are mounted, and I'll show you here firsthand on a couple other issues I've had with the kayak. I was told by a lot of other people to go ahead and contact Hoodoo, and their warranty department would replace my rudder, which that is not the case. We contacted them yesterday. They will not, or they would not replace it, and they gave us some information on how to order a new one for it, so we did. So if other people have had similar issues, I'd like to hear your comments. I've not had any issue with the, any other parts of the kayak build wise. I just want to reiterate some things that people have said in previous videos or other videos I've seen on the Hoodoo Tempest120p, and we'll go over some of we'll do a little walk around on the kayak, and I'll go over some stuff that I found. And I'm not bad mouthing their kayaks. I think they're still a great kayak. It's just some things you need to be aware of if you purchase one. And I want you to get the most out of your kayak and make it reliable. So let's take a little walk through, and we'll see what all we find on it. And I've not done anything to the kayak except for pull it off the truck, and you'll see what I see on it, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, let's start here at the back of the kayak. As I was telling you, in transport, the rear rudder, as you can see, has fallen off of the kayak, and the bolt luckily was still laying in the top of it, so all I have to do is replace the rudder. But I believe what I'm going to do when I do get the new rudder is I'm probably going to put a little Lucite, so a little bit of Loctite on this, so that this doesn't happen again. And that being said, if you're going to transport your kayak, you may want to tie the rudder up so it doesn't flutter in the wind, because I'm sure that's partly what had to do with this loss of the rudder. So like I say, this is probably one of those major points you should be checking when you buy the kayak. You might want to tighten this down. I've heard a couple discussions where some people have been using their kayak and this has actually come loose on it. So I think a little Lucite or a little Loctite would probably help out. All right. I also noticed on a couple of these, they're loose, which they should not be. They're just an Allen head bolt. You can tighten them down. They provide an Allen wrench. Probably be a good idea to go through and check every bolt on the entire kayak. I've seen a lot of people say that when they purchased their kayak and got it home, that a lot of the bolts were loose, and it's probably a good idea to just go ahead and check it. I did also notice that my lever, get you a little sunlight here, my lever is really loose on my rudder, so I'm probably going to pop this cap and tighten it down, make sure there's no issue there. And also I've heard this discussion by quite a few other people about the straps on their seat braking, and that their plastic buckles have broken. Well, I'm not certain if Hoodoo went through and heard your ideas or heard the complaints, and they've replaced them, because this one is not, these are not plastic on mine. Mine are actually metal, and this is a 2021 model, so they may have went through and changed that design. So another thing, these knobs for the console, they are also loose. They will need to be tightened down. And another thing, another complaint I've heard is that The rubber grommet gasket around the console is not thick enough, and it lets water up through the hull when you're paddling. So you can go to any hardware store and buy door trim sticky back gasket material and put it around the entire perimeter, and you may want to double it up because it may not be thick enough, but that will stop the leaking issue in your hull. Another thing I noticed, I took the seat off in transport, and when I went to put the seat back on, I like to never got the bolts back into the tracks here. It's almost as if the kayak shrunk. I had to spread the kayak apart to get these brackets into this tracking, into the actual bolt holes, which was it was a little bit of a chore, but I did it. So keep that in mind if you pull the seat off in transport. I noticed that these tracks are a little loose, so I'm going to go through and check those bolts too. I also noticed that I had a little bit of leaking around this lid when this was sitting in my yard, and I'm thinking that the seal underneath of the actual lid is not watertight, so I may have to pull that lid back off and put some clear silicone around it to stop that from happening. I've checked all the other bolts. Everything else seems to be in good shape. And as I said, I'm not bad-mouthing Hoodoo one bit on their kayak. I believe it's a good product, and I believe that you'll get years of enjoyment out of it. It's just the sheer fact of not even having this kayak in the water yet and having this issue kind of bummed me out. I figured I would do a little bit of a walkthrough on it, let y'all know. Another thing I noticed is this the strap for the paddle holder. That bolt's loose also. Like I said, just go through, check every strap, every nook and cranny for defects. Make sure that everything's tight. And like I said, I may put some Loctite on a lot of these bolts because, you know, it is plastic, and you know, it's not meant to be banged and beat around, but it may be loosening up in transport. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And if you all have any comments and any ideas, let me know. I'd be glad to hear them. And if you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. That is Fishing the Dream. I appreciate your support. Thank you.